Hey you! So today we have another Figma figure, and this is Ichi, and this was a series that I hadn't really looked at, but it popped up, and I'm a sucker for swords and guns and things with figures, so I think this is a really cool one, so I had to get it. So we can see here is a really nice window display. We can see Ichi here, we can see her face, we can see a sword, and some stuff in the background that you can't really kind of see, but this is 396. So if we have a look here, we can see Ichi there, which is a nice display, and on the back we can see tons of different poses that she can do. You got a lovely picture of Ichi there, and then we've got a picture here, we've got a picture there, and then that's it. So let's open this bad girl and have a look inside. Here is Ichi. I've got to admit, this is actually quite a nice figure. I have only one complaint, which I'll talk about in a bit. But for the moment, we can see that she's got these really kind of nice green eyes that kind of really stand out. I've seen them on a few figures, but these really do kind of stand out. I really kind of like her school uniform. And I really kind of like this thing, like the kind of like the collar, which then leads into the kind of pink. I think that really works well with this. But I really love these. I really love these like kind of gauntlets. They look absolutely amazing. I love the kind of detail. So I'm guessing like in the anime or game that she's got, that she uses them quite a bit. So I think this is quite cool. Just underneath her bust, we can see that there's kind of like a harness that keeps things in place, which again may be part of her actual outfit, so she can actually have her weapons on the back or anything like that. And we can see just here is green that really works in well with the colour. So as we come down here, we can see more of the gauntlets here. I actually really like them. I think they really kind of suit her. I think that it's just really decent. The gloves are quite cool. Then we've got the skirt that's got ruffles in it. That's absolutely fine. Then we can see her legs, and then kind of more of a like harness, so she can have more of a, like her swords on the back. Here you go. This is where I have a tiny bit of a problem with the way that she can stand up. I have to use the stand mainly because when we look here, it's really kind of thin. So trying to get her to stand up properly, it's kind of hard. It takes a little bit of a while, but with the stand it makes it like 10 times easier. But let's have a look. I actually do think this is really kind of cool. I like the kind of the detail that's gone in onto it, and then here, which we'll show you in a bit, where you can put like her weapons as well, which I think is a really kind of nice like addition to it. We can see that it's all kind of like pink here, and then obviously it runs in with the blacks. The color really kind of like suits it, I think. And then we can see some slight detail there and stuff like that. So I think this is really cool. As I've mentioned, it's going to be weird with the stand here, but I mentioned here, so if I just show you quickly, we've got like one of the weapons here, and it can go straight into the back. I think that is a really nice addition. So let's put the other one in. I don't normally do this. This is that thing at first, but just adding the kind of weapons here, I think that's awesome. I generally think that's a really like cool thing. So you can just take them out like so. But yeah, that's really cool. I like that. Now, kind of looking at the back, the hair we've seen quite a few times on some of the figures where you can separate it. But I think, can we stretch out? So we'll hold it there, that's not too bad. We can see that you can see parts of the skirt's got a bit more detail. You've got pink near the top as normal, and then the hair just like pulls apart. Now, one thing is, I always have trouble putting the kind of the stand into the back of the figure, mainly because it's either the hole's too small or the peg is very weird. And then Good Smile always say, hey, you've got to kind of like use heat to kind of get it in there, and I'm like, but this one just went straight into the back, and I was very kind of impressed with that. Kind of at the top of her head is very smooth. There's no major detail, but when we look here, we can see that I don't know if this is like a sort of headset where she can call people, or if it's just for kind of decoration, but it actually adds to the figure and actually kind of really stands out. I do like the black and silver or black and white. I think that really works well. I just kind of wish there was along here there was kind of some more detail, but it's kind of really smooth. But when we come down here, we can see that I'm guessing that the hair's on like a kind of ball joint, very similar to Asuna from Sword Art Online. But I think, yeah, it's kind of cool. I don't know, it reminds me of a Pokemon for some strange, bizarre reason. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So let's do the stress test. The feet, I generally thought these were stuck originally. But you can move them a bit. it's one of those things where you don't really know where it's going, so it's kind of annoying. You just have to kind of figure out if it's going to go anywhere, but they're kind of very restrictive. So we've got the kind of knee. I think that looks really cool. Like if she's going to kick you, it's going to hurt. Just like that. The legs kind of move around. Not really that much, which is a bit of a shame. Torso's fine. Turns normally, so you can turn it all the way around if you want. Move the arms around it. Now I didn't see this when moving up the figure, but you've also got kind of like a symbol there. That's actually really cool. I actually kind of really like that. I also like that sort of pose. Hair moves up. So let's turn around with the hands. Oh, so the hands are a little bit stiff, but it's not too bad. So you can turn around. So even when you look at the gauntlets, like just in there, there's more detail to it. You can bring the hands up like that. I actually really think that's pretty cool. I think these really give the figure, like if she's gonna punch, it's gonna really hurt. But it kind of gives that sort of impression. So move the head around. So you can with the figure like that. So moves up and down like that, and then that's it. So yeah, the hair is kind of on a ball joint as well. So you can do that. So yeah, it's actually quite flexible, and it's actually quite a nice figure. I've got to admit, I thought she would come with multiple faces. I don't think I've ever seen a figure, or I can't remember, a Figma figure that only has two faceplates. One and the next one that you're going to see. So let's just take this off. Let's see if it's going to... oh, okay, it comes off quite easily. So I just hope it's not one of those figures that the faces drop off. So that's kind of, it's not a bad face. It does give it more life. I do kind of like it. It was a bit of a pain to put on, only a tiny bit, where you have to really kind of force it in. So yeah, but to be fair, I actually kind of like that one more than the original, but I kind of wish you had like maybe one or two more faces. I think that would have worked really, really well. But looking at this one, same sort of eyes, open mouth. So yeah, it's not a bad one. Yeah, I'd say it's an okay face. So she comes with weapons. We've already seen the knives, but look at the detail on this. I actually kind of like it. I do kind of wish it was a darker red though. I think that kind of sorts it out a bit more. We've got the gold, and even like writing, I don't even know what it says. I don't think it says anything, but it's just very small text. Now I thought that these would probably stay in, but you can take the blade out. It is very kind of flimsy. It's very flexible. So you can take it out, which gives a kind of really nice blade. And then you kind of get another one. And I thought maybe these two would stick in, but you can take the sword out. It's exactly the same, very flimsy. So just be very careful that you don't snap it. And then you get kind of a small one. Now I do like the fact that it looks like it's rope, and then you can attach it to the figure, and then you've got the kind of purple, pink thing here too. It says 01, so I'm guessing that's the first sword, and that's it. So there's like kind of like little bits of detail, mainly with the kind of grey here, and then obviously with the pink there. So it's actually kind of really cool. When I was looking over the figure, I was wondering how to attach the kind of swords to the actual figure. So the only way is that there's a small peg just tucked away underneath here. So let's bring the head there forward. So it's just there, if you can just see it. So you have to pull that out so you can attach it to the sword. So when we have a look at the figure zoomed out, we're able to see that she's able to kind of have the weapon dangling. It's not bad, it just, when looking at the figure from the front, it kind of looks really kind of loose, and I know you can like kind of move it up a little bit like that, but it kind of over time will just, as you can see there, just slowly go back down to where the most heaviest point is and stuff like that. But I've got to admit that I wasn't kind of expecting that. And it's an A. I didn't realise it was an A. I thought it was, from looking under, I thought it was completely different. But it does kind of give a little bit extra to the figure, which isn't that bad. I was kind of really impressed. On the hands, which you get here, the set part there that looks like open to hold the kind of the sheath, actually has a small peg in it, so it makes things a lot easier for the actual figure to hold it, which I think is really, really cool. The only thing I would say that would make the figure slightly better would be if this came off, so you could easily fit it back into the hand. But it holds onto it quite well. It adds a little bit more kind of life, because now you could add things. You could be adding different poses, different attacks. You can then take these out, so she could hold them in different ways. I think it's really, really cool the way that they've added this. One thing I will say, it kind of annoyed me, is when you're trying to take the hands off, sometimes the ball joint will just come out, or the wrist joint will just like pop out. So you have to either bend it a certain way and slowly kind of like pull it out, or you have to kind of just like try and get the ball joint straight in. It's a bit of a pain, to be honest, but to be fair, it didn't take too long. But you can pose her in different poses now, which is kind of cool. Now, because like she's like this, it's a little bit top heavy, so it just almost falls off. But you know, as long as you can pose her and put her in different ways, it might not be a problem, but you'll have to take some time to actually pose it in the way that you want. There we go, Rangers. There is Ichi. Now, I've got to admit, she isn't a bad figure. She isn't that bad at all. The only problems that I have is that the hand joints are a little bit too loose. So when playing with these and like trying to adjust them, I found that the hand would fall off, or the joint was really, really loose. This isn't a bad figure. Don't get me wrong. I actually really like it. I think it's one of the most pleasing on the eyes that I've seen. I love the gauntlets. I love the weapons. Another problem I had that I didn't really like was the fact is that you can't really stand her up without the stand. Now, you could probably take a lot more time to getting it just right, but I feel like it could easily fall over. It could easily do something completely different, and that's something that would really kind of annoy me over time. So you have to have the stand. Now, saving grace is that with the stand, you can easily just like, it goes straight into the back, and there's no kind of fiddling around with it, and stuff like that. I do kind of wish that she also came with more faces. The kind of like this sort of face is really ideal for her, but maybe another face would have been interesting. The weapons are fine. I like the kind of little knives and little daggers, should I say, that go into the back of the kind of figure. That's actually really, really cool. The swords are a little bit kind of too flimsy. I think that you could have made them out of a harder plastic, so they wouldn't feel like they could snap straight away. So just be careful when you play with them. Or if you're having it in certain positions that it's not touching anything, or it's putting any strain on the blade. Otherwise it will bend, or it could snap, and I wouldn't want that happening to your figure, so just be careful with that. But apart from that, it's a great figure. It's a great part of the line that I'm going to start collecting. Dear God, more lines, but still very, very cool, and very, very awesome. So Rangers, what are your thoughts about her? Do you like her? Do you not? Let me know down below in the comments, and if you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment, and consider subscribing. Check out all the other videos on the channel. If you want help out on Patreon, links in the description down below, and also hit the notification bell, because there'll be more videos coming, and you'll be notified as soon as one drops. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there, and as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.